Hi there. So today we are focusing on Emporio Armani Lui, or actually Giorgio Armani, but it's under the name Emporio Armani, so we will go with that. And Lui originates into year 1998 when it was called that, and it was called Lui until I think 2020, and then they changed the name to Emporio Armani He. And before I go into the actual review of this particular version, this is still the version when it was called Lui, so maybe this is, I think that I checked once and I think that this was around 2010 or something like that, the bottle that I have in here, I mean. But before I go to this, I will say that a couple weeks ago I randomly ended up in a department store here in Helsinki, and I actually noticed that they had the new version or the current version of the Emporio Armani He in there, and I decided to give it a try, and I have to say that I was very surprised how different it was to this, because personally I wouldn't never call this anything like incredibly amazing or unique or anything like that. It's a good smelling fragrance. It's a nice perfume. I have memory attachments to this fragrance, which probably can make it even a little bit better than it really is. But so I was actually a bit surprised, like how this kind of as generic smelling as this one is, how did they change it so much that. I mean, I didn't like the new version very much, I have to say, and I mean, it didn't smell bad. Maybe it would be better if it would be its own perfume, but when it's meant to be this one, it was just a little bit surprising to me how they managed to do that and managed to change that so much, because like I said, this originally wasn't anything like incredibly complex, or I find it to be quite generic, as I said, so yeah, I was surprised by that. But anyway, like I said, this is something that I've always thought that this smells really good, actually. There's even something slightly sexy about this perfume, because this kind of DNA that Emporio Armani and Giorgio Armani used to do, like after this 1998 until 2010, something like that, the DNA is very similar in many fragrances, like in Lui, something like Emporio Armani Night, that was actually really good as well. Even Armani Code, I find that these all have the same kind of, I usually call it Armani DNA, which is that they are very powdery and they do have that kind of like darker tone to them, very smooth, creamy, like I said, powdery, and there is usually always that kind of like very velvety, suede type of an accord with the patchouli and tonka in the base. That's how they usually feel like, and that's pretty much what I get with this one as well. But I will give it a quick spray, and you know, it has this. It has this like really nice freshness to it, which is also familiar with these fragrances, and to me it tries to be something like orange, maybe a little bit, but and it does have a little bit of sparkle in there, that's for sure, but it's not the kind of any kind of sunny lemon or sunny citrus or sunny in orange this case. It does have like a darker tone in here as well, as I said, that the Armani DNA to me usually has. So there is a bit of that kind of like orangey sparkle, but it's immediately, like I said, it feels that there is a little bit of darker tone to it, and also it is a little bit aromatic as well. There is a bit of like sharpness to it, which is a little bit herbal, aromatic, slightly not necessarily, if not green, but there is an element of greener bitterness to the opening part. But honestly, basically the essence of the perfume is pretty much what I described before, that it has that really powdery, smooth, velvety, some kind of like suede accord that doesn't smell like leather to me. That's important because there's absolutely nothing like leather in here, but the suede is just that it makes me think of like polished brand new suede that has that kind of very clear and sparkling black brand new color tone to it. It really does have that kind of feeling, and it's like I said, it's very powdery and quite sweet, or actually not that sweet, a little bit of sweetness in here. It's not as sweet as something like Armani Code, for example, but there is definitely still something to me that I find quite charming about this smell, and I can definitely imagine that people in general would like the smell of this. They probably don't think that it's anything like absolutely mind-blowing, but many times fragrances doesn't even or don't have to be like that. But personally, I wish that they would have kept this like the DNA of this perfume, because I just remember that the new version was very different, and it felt very obviously fragrances change, you know, throughout the years, but it just felt very light and faint, and there was none of that like darker powdery patchouli tonka type of a thing that's going on in here. So it's a little bit sad to notice those things, but this I don't remember from the, you know, I used to wear this in the early 2000s as well. I don't remember how long it lasted on my skin then. This is just pretty weak, even though this is like 15 years old bottle almost. It's still pretty weak. It's nothing very like strong projecting type of a perfume, but I really think that this kind of fragrance doesn't even have to be. It's a very nice, there's certain refinement to it as well. Maybe there is a little bit of like something, like, even though I said that the suede part of this is polished, but there is also a little bit of earthy, like rawness to the fragrance as well, especially in the late dry down of this scent. I'm interested to hear if you are familiar with Lui and what kind of experiences and memories you have with this perfume. So as always, I appreciate you watching these videos, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you and bye bye.